Commissioners meeting to order, and we will start with the prayer. Reverend Sims, please pray, please.
Father, we thank you, dear Master, for your many blessings. We're so thankful for all that you're doing and have done for us and what you will do. Thank you for this administration, God. We thank you for letting us do what we do here. We pray, God, that come to discuss the business of the Lord. You can be our hearts and minds and mind to please you. We'll give you glory and praise. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Would y'all please recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, welcome everybody today. We got a couple guests. John Barback.
Hey, John.
National Woodbine is here as well. Welcome. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Not at this time. Okay. All right, we're going to work our way through this agenda today. Doesn't look too terribly bad. And got a guest speaker, so. First thing, your information and documents were sent out previously to the meeting today, so you had a chance to look over the minutes of the previous meeting. We need to get an approval for that for the December 11th meeting.
A second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Is there any public comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion's approved. Discussion of the December 2025 monthly financial reports. Our Vice President Candy is out today for the meeting, so I will do that for you. If you first look at the balance sheet, it's pretty straightforward. Your assets list the checking, savings accounts, and CDs and so forth. Our total net position on assets is $52,813,000. Same with liabilities, and everything looks pretty healthy on the balance sheet. If we move to the profit loss income statement for the month of December, we're about at our halfway mark for the year. Just so you know, our fiscal year ends in June 30th. Have we gone to a new reporting on the income statement format? Well, there's a couple things that are left out of here. We need to, and I may just need to get with her on, you've got a section here under income that's, needs to be total other income here.
Okay.
But you got total investment
Okay,
income,
that's
you
it,
need the total, then you got total income, because that's confusing, that's not a total of that.
Yeah.
So there's a few items we need to clean up on that, but as far as this conversation, our total income for the first half of the year is $1,707,000. And for the month is just under $500,000. A lot of that is in oil and gas revenue and CD interest and trading bond interest. So we're doing pretty well. Our expenses are relatively normal for the levee district, and are doing pretty well. We've had some capital expenditures from capital outlay, but not too terribly much. So we're still, our total income for the year is around just over $500,000 so far, and it was $348,000 this month. And that was because we got such a big dump of oil and gas royalties and CD interest. So we'll get to the invoices in just a minute, but all that looks pretty much in line. Anybody have any questions on the financial statements? Okay. We do not need an approval for that. That's just a discussion item. Ratify payment statements of invoices for the month of December 2025 and subsequent bills for the month of November 2025. In the package, you've got bills of the month going back to December. I signed a few of those. James, I think, just signed a lot of those and went over those and checked those. So, everything does look pretty much in line, with our operations. There's not really any outliers here. Anybody have any questions or anything on these? If not, we'll get a motion to approve these, ratify these, bills and payments.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Any public comment? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Alright. Motion's approved. The next item is, item number 7, maturity of $22,500,000 treasury, with Hancock Whitney Bank. Expired 12/31/25. And a $2 million CD with Home Federal that is coming up on 1/17/26. So, we'll start with the maturity of the treasury bond.
Yeah, we can start with the maturity of the treasury bond, but I do wanna, kind of mention, about the $2 million that is maturing, later this month with Home Federal Bank. You know, in the past, we've, you know, try not to deal with anything that has not matured yet, just because the rates will change and there's just too much variability. But we did reach out to Home Federal about the specific ones that's with them, and they said that the rates that they've offered, here, they can honor those rates for that $2 million, if we choose to do something with it now. But I just wanna mention that, so when we're thinking about the 2.5, we know that,
What is the rate that $2 million's at? Do we know? Or it's on that
it's, yeah, it's at 4.
Ooh. They said they would keep it there?
No, I'm sorry, they said they would honor the rates provided, for today.
Oh, okay.
Because lots of times the rates expire every week, but they said they'll hold these rates
So
until the 17th.
their current, if we renewed the 2-year option, is 3.6%. As proposed, I would say we probably leave it there, or maybe even push it to a 3-year. Will they do a 3-year on that? That's what they propose, that they'll do that the same at 3.6%.
Yep.
I know that rates are probably going to go down, throughout this year a little bit maybe, from what I think, which is maybe nothing. But, we may wanna lock in a 3-year option there on that one, since we do not have a whole lot of 3-year options in our portfolios. Well, we do at the bottom, but, I think that would be a good move, because, we do have a lot coming up in the 2-year, 1-year mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good.
What does everybody else wanna do?
Sounds good to me.
Y'all good with that? Okay, well, let's go back to the maturity of the $2.5 million treasury bond. What did you wanna do with that?
Well, we've been tending to, just stick with CDs. We did get, quotes from them from, a treasury again, and,
I mean, it's more of a pain to deal with
It's-
treasury notes, right?
it's a little bit.
And those rates aren't necessarily any better,
No, they're not. So in
which
the,
is predictable, cause they're gonna do this on you when rates are falling, so,
Yeah. in the 2 and 3 year window, Home Federal and First Horizon they both have 3.6, for both terms. If we wanna distribute it to another bank just to kind of spread it out, to First Horizon,
this is with,
it's currently with
Hancock Whitney. We don't really have anything else with them right now. Did they indicate they wanted to keep it, or didn't say, or,
They didn't say.
well, it's already been released though, right, so,
Yes, it's already in our checking account.
okay, well, the rates aren't that great, so I would say we go with, we move that over to either First Horizon Federal, and we do have a lot with Home Federal, so I would say probably put a little bit more with First Horizon, if you're good with that.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be at a
Good.
3.6, I would go with the 24 months on that,
Mm-hmm.
at 3.6 again. That's pretty good. That's some good rates right there, huh?
First Horizon's probably your only other choice other than Home Federal.
Yeah.
Home Federal's always cash poor, and First Horizon's really trying to capture some cash and new loans, and
We got options from.
they're a big bank.
Yeah.
Their local office is not, local footprint's not much, but they are a big East Coast bank that,
Yeah. So for the 2.5 million treasury, can we get a motion to move that, or instruct Patrick to move that to, invest that with, First Horizon at 24 months at 3.6% as proposed?
That's a move.
Okay,
So,
a motion and second, any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Okay, and then the next one is, the $2 million one we just discussed with Home Federal. Can we get a motion to leave that with Home Federal at the 3.6%, but go to the 36-month option? If you're gonna get 3.6 at 24 months and 36 months, and you know the rates are probably gonna fall, I would say, I would push it to 36 months, cause the rates aren't, I don't think they're going up anytime soon, so. If everybody's good with that, can we get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay. A motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion is approved. Just one last thing too, I mean, I'll continue to say this, but we've done really well with the CD portfolio. It's very well balanced.
what was the 2025 income from investments like that?
Our year-to-date income,
I mean, it's
Marshall,
tremendous.
is, just from the CDs, is, 647,000,
Yeah.
plus the 175,000 we got from the treasury bond, it was like
And then you had $5 to $6 million in oil and gas
almost
income.
$900,000 on investment income. So we've done really well with that. I think the best we probably could do, to be honest with you. Okay, next item is Caddo Lake Institute update and briefing by Laura Ashley Overdyke, the Executive Director. Welcome, Laura. We,
Thanks,
look
I
forward to
appreciate it.
hearing all about it.
Yes, it's been about 7 years, I really think it has, since I've been here last to update y'all, and there is a lot of news, so I'm gonna try and condense it and try to be as brief as possible. But y'all are, if not the biggest, certainly one of the biggest landowners at Caddo Lake, and I know a lot of you, have a very vested interest, in the lake itself, and I think as stewards of public funds and caring about this area, that you probably share, a lot of the Caddo Lake Institute's care about the long-term health and viability of Caddo Lake, whether that's for hunting, fishing, boating, tourism, water supply, the future economic opportunities of this region. I think it really, has been an asset we've overlooked and haven't really, focused on or developed. But to give you a sense, I think a lot of, flood control and flooding and having too much water is something that you all are very focused on. In Louisiana, we often have taken water for granted because we have plenty, if not too much, from time to time. But we're entering a phase where that's a different situation for Caddo, because our neighbor to the west, Texas, that we share Caddo with 50/50, is an incredibly dry, thirsty, and growing state. And so there's some really big updates that you need to know about it's a huge change, and it's been hard to, we've been able to look at the hydrology of that in terms of the foot lower. What we don't really know is the biology, of tipping points of like how hot does that water get when it's shallower? How much can the fish stand? Do we get an algae bloom? You know, I think those sort of biological tipping points aren't yet fully known. It's kind of complicated. So we have great concern from that, although I have great hope that we're gonna be able to stop that. You know, that could change on a dime, with the water district over there with really no recourse. So 30,000 or 40,000 now households on the Louisiana side of the lake get their water out of Caddo Lake. Their drinking water, their housing water. Blanchard is the biggest water treatment system. I was with the mayor yesterday, the day before, and they have a nice water treatment plant over there that they provide water to. He's not concerned about his intake pipe. It's pretty low in the lake, but I think y'all have seen in the news that there's probably going to be a data center announced in Blanchard, and that the water would come from that water treatment plant, which means it would come from Caddo Lake as well. So right now, there's plenty of water, and I don't think it would be a massive concern. However, you know, especially if that Dallas sale went through, there would not be enough water to, you know, support the lake's health and Blanchard and the population over there, and the data center, and power generation. SWEPCO has a plant on the lake as well. So everything, you know, today is fine, but I think that the outlook we need to be very serious about and try to understand how to mitigate that. So in addition to all of this, every lake sort of slowly fills in over time, over a very long period of time. People at Caddo that use that lake a lot think it's filling in faster than most, mainly because of the salvinia that's on the top and then dies and goes to the bottom. So like a boat user out there will say, when somebody tells me the lake is full, 168.5, I can't get my boat half the places I used to be able to get it at that amount. So trying to sediment. So picturing like a bathtub, that the top level is 168.5, but if the bottom is rising, you've got less water in there to navigate in or to have any sustainability. So what we've been trying to think of is big picture, long term. You know, all of these water sales and pressures on water will probably continue. And so how do you keep Caddo healthy for the long term and make sure that there is a lake there? There's an idea that the level of the lake could be raised by raising the level of the weir so that it could hold more water, so that, you know, if then you're kind of back to where you were. That would require working with the Corps of Engineers through the Vicksburg District with a study to see if that is a viable option, if that would work. There would be some concern probably from people that live on the Texas side that are really low properties, that raising the level of that lake might give them some flooding problems, or, you know, we might be concerned about some flooding.
Can you imagine the concerns about that? I mean, everybody's boat docks are at a certain level and all that kind of stuff. That would change everything.
You'd have to kind of find the right level, right?
It gets complicated because a lot of the Texas boathouses and even camps themselves are built out of code, and they're built in areas that are known before they build. They're in flood zones,
So you'd have to
it gets complicated.
probably couple that with working gates instead of a weir, to have working gates that could let out water so that people wouldn't flood out. And hopefully that could have some benefits for flushing the sediment out of the system, because it can't. The salvinia sometimes, when the water's high, can go over that weir, which is great. It's the best thing that can happen for the salvinia. But the sediment can't, because it's at the bottom. So there is some idea that if the gates could also open and the water were higher, we'd have more water, so that if Texas is releasing less, at least you're keeping what you had, a little bit more. And then that there could be some sediment flushing out of the bottom to keep that long-term problem. So this is just a start of a conversation conversation to float this idea and this concept. The Corps has something called a New Start feasibility study. They approve one in the country every other year. So, I mean, this is not gonna be some turn on a dime. And all that means is they would commit to spending 3 years studying the issue. And at the end of 3 years, have a recommendation of whether it was a good idea or not. So, and it doesn't mean that anything would happen or change. It just means they would look at the flooding and the habitat and the feasibility of that, if it would be a workable solution. The trick is you have to have a non-federal sponsor that's in the region that would be willing to go in with the Corps on that type of study with some cost sharing and giving them some kind of legal partner to work with in the region, and with y'all being the closest in both proximity and property and decent pocketbooks, I think that was why I thought that perhaps you all might be the right organization. I don't think the city of Shreveport or Blanchard could enter into such a thing. So that's an idea I wanted to float with y'all for the future. And then also the data center thing being in the news, you know, I would urge just any real industry is going to use water. And so, you know, it's no different than a Libby Glass or any other type of project. But trying to think wisely and slow people down enough with any influence of these type of deals so that we can look at this. You know, I mean, the Blanchard mayor's like, I'm fine. I have a legal right to do this. I'm like, yeah, you're looking at one spigot, one town, but we're trying to think about how do we keep this entire resource healthy so that we all have that supply chain for SWEPCO and future developments and people moving in, and, you know, we need to look at the whole big picture. So, we have some hope that when these types of deals are made, we could require, encourage, incentivize these companies to go in with us on restoring the watershed and actually maybe contracting for water from that water district that I said at Lake of the Pines that wants to sell all that water to Dallas. If they could contract to have that water sent downstream to offset their use. So they're using 4,000 acre feet a year. Can you contract for 4,000 acre feet a year? And you offset so the lake has no net loss to the lake. So that's a vision. I'm gonna hopefully try to get there, but if you all have any influence with whoever that partner may be or the people working on that deal, eventually maybe other big users of water from the lake. I actually did not know that Honeywell had a massive factory over in Warringsport that draws raw water directly out of Caddo for free. That, you know, eventually other companies might want to start buying into this concept and assuring their supply chain and their water, but also getting bonus points of tax offsets for giving to a nonprofit and, you know, global sustainability goals met for offsetting their water use. They may have real incentives that they're not out anything, but they get a lot of good PR and sustainability of the resource. So for those reasons to think about entering into more conversations in the future about the Corps of Engineers study for the long-term health, and then users of water on the Louisiana side that do have some sustainability goals and deep pockets and could handle the tax write-off, to start partnering with us to make sure we get enough water coming downstream. If we could lock up enough, we might be able to block Dallas to the point where they go, there's not enough left to contract with Lake of the Pines to even build a $2 billion pipe and pump to come get it. So it's kind of the long-term strategy, but things move fast. So I welcome, Marshall can send any ideas, contacts with Honeywell to Marshall so I can follow up on them, and then just put it in your back pocket to start thinking about that core study and if that might be something that we want to do for the region.
So questions. So Lake of the Pine, that feed is what feeds Caddo Lake.
It's the largest.
The largest, the whole tributary system. It's the
It's
major.
not the only,
But right, it's just the major
the
feeder.
major. And in the 2011 drought, it was the only.
So they're gonna contract to get X amount of water each year for Dallas out of that lake. Does it matter if it's a drought year, and is it dependent upon the weather and the level of the Lake of the Pines? at this point, no, they
We
pull,
don't know of any of that.
right, they pull out X amount of water
No matter what.
regardless of how low Lake of the
Correct.
Pines is.
Correct.
Okay.
Their drought contingency plan is very weak,
Okay,
and
who controls, you said there was a water district at Lake of the Pines. Who controls Caddo Lake and gives authority to whomever to take water out of that?
the Red River Compact that was negotiated before I was born, set that half of Caddo's water is for Louisiana and half of Caddo's water is for Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a board, John Michael Moore, I think is our representative, for our region on that compact. And I've met with them and tried to talk to them about this. Right now, these types of numbers, it would not trigger the compact. Even this insane amount of water coming from upstream that would be deprived to Louisiana because of the way the accounting was done in the 70s, which I'm asking them to review, but it doesn't touch it.
So there's nobody really that says you can take water out of Caddo Lake on the Louisiana side?
Louisiana doesn't have much permitting for water usage, so my understanding is if a fracker wanted to go throw a flexible pipe in Caddo right this second, they could do
It's
that.
pretty unregulated compared to other states, mainly because we've got so much water.
Louisiana does a good job regulating its groundwater.
And a lot of times we got too much
It
water.
does a terrible job regulating its surface water, whereas Texas does just the opposite. Texas does a pretty good job.
Well, in a lot of cases, we got more than water than we need, but in some cases, like this, it's a issue that needs to be more regulated.
But I mean, it's always an issue with Cross Lake too. I mean, who can pull water out of that for fracking? And I mean, you know, we talked about that through the years, but there's really no agency or whatever other than this one that really won't kick into being.
The permitting is very lax, if optional, and the reporting, we're not really sure how much water is being pulled. I don't know how much Honeywell pulls out. I don't know that that's reported anywhere.
Okay, and then if you have a lake level, say a 168, as the bottom changes and sediment accrues there, why doesn't the lake level change based on the bottom increasing? You see what I'm saying?
It's going over the dam. You've got a dam, a weir that's set at a certain level constantly. If it gets anything above that, it's going out.
Right, but what 168 means the depth of the lake.
That's your pool stage. No, that's not the
Where it is
depth.
on the wall.
That's your pool stage of the top of the water. That's where that's at, elevation.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the elevation, but
And
that
that's-
doesn't mean the depth of the lake at all.
That has nothing to, just like the Red River, you know, the pool stage fluctuates.
Has nothing to do
up and
with
down.
depth, it has to do with how
It's just where
how the core,
that's where your top
Yeah.
surface is at, and that's controlled by the top of that weir.
Right, so it doesn't have to do with the depth of the lake, it has to do with just what is on
Where
the
the water
weir.
line mark is on the
And-
wall.
Right.
On the,
And so it also doesn't have to do with, since it doesn't have to do with the depth, it also doesn't have anything to do with the water capacity of that entire lake body. So the capacity is shrinking, that's the problem.
it's been 13 years since they've done a study on how much yield or actual water is available in that lake, and that was, Salvinia got really bad about the same time they did that study, so we haven't had a recent study of the depth.
You'd have to go back and do a bottom scan to figure out your bottom elevations and then the pool stage, obviously, and that's where you get your volume. Who knows what that is at this point, so.
Hmm.
Laura actually mentioned the idea of a non-federal sponsor, which this board knows nothing about right now. But it might well be something that the Caddo Levee Board wants to investigate for possibly raising their hand and saying, we will be the non-federal sponsor, because it would give us a lot of credibility, and it would put the levee district at the table with the Corps, who is the levee district's advocate on most issues, to, on the project team, to determine how all of this can be planned in the future to come. The original dam was built in the early 1900s to allow golf to have a constant pool stage to go out and build platforms and that sort of thing. It's a weir, not a dam. And then the Weir is owned by the Corps of Engineers, maintained by the Corps of Engineers, but it is owned property, fee property owned by the Caddo Levee Board. And in front of it is what we have referred to before as Section 21. Our Section 21 fee property is underwater there in front of our ground that the weir is built on. In the 1960s, the weir was improved, retrofitted. And the research that I did on another issue is that the original engineering plan in the 60s included the idea of prospectively adding a gate or gates to the weir for future needs, whatever that might be. And the Corps is not aware of a lot of these issues. They, don't do a great job of cooperating because I think they're understaffed, underfunded. And the idea of our levee district becoming the non-federal sponsor would be ideal for what our purpose is. And on that issue, I'm glad to be the person that, devotes most of my time for free and keeps the burden off of Patrick and others. I need to disclose, I've been on the Caddo Lake Institute board since the 1990s, and I'm its treasurer. So I have a vested interest in wanting to protect Caddo Lake, not only from being a landowner and a user of Caddo Lake, but also being very pro Caddo Lake Institute. There's some obligations with coming with the sponsorship, being the non-federal sponsor, but you don't have to commit to it until you see what the plan's gonna be, is my understanding. The Corps, if it had a non-federal sponsor here, would probably consider requiring a feasibility study for anyone that wants to draw water out of the lake. The surface water in the lake is owned by the state of Louisiana and controlled by state agencies. The exception to that is cities like Blanchard already have a pipe there. And whether they have to get a permit to expand their water treatment facility or not, I do not know the answer to that yet. And they say they do not. But
The city does too though, right?
Correct.
And Vivian and the rest of them up there probably.
They've almost all consolidated on the Blanchard except for Vivian and Greenwood, and their intakes are very much in jeopardy. Vivian and Greenwood's intakes are much low, or don't have as deep of a pipe, so their water supply could be really threatened by this. I mean, I don't know that it would ever gain traction, but there's the possibility that there could be state legislation about recording water usage or permitting water usage out of Caddo, and specific to Caddo, because it is ecologically fragile, because it's shared with Texas, because Texas may be depriving us of water.
I mean, wouldn't you form basically a water district for that? To regulate that?
That's what they did in Texas, I mean, but.
And that's the whole purpose of these.
Well, this data center that's being proposed, I can give you all the names and specifics of that. It's a huge company called and their local acquirer is SAC3 Acquisition. They're the ones that have signed the purchase and sale agreements for the new data center that's in West Shreveport on the Franks property that was passed unanimously by the city council recently.
And where is that?
It's out
On Elliott?
Greenwood Road,
Greenwood Road,
Greenwood Road.
on the Franks property.
it would use water from the city of Shreveport's treatment plant
Right,
to Cross Lake.
it's by that.
Sorry, Marshall.
Old mall.
Right.
And then one in
Where's
North
the one-
Bossier that I
Where's
think
the one
would
in
use
Blanchard being proposed?
Latex Road, right at State Line, Latex Road.
It's right there on the State Line Road and the Latex Road as it goes over towards, East Texas,
But that is separate, so there's several data centers.
There's three right now.
There's
There's
three.
one in West Shreveport. There's the Blanchard one that we're discussing in our meeting here. A third one is up north and west, I think, of Benton, Louisiana. And it is kind of creeping along. Interestingly, the Blanchard facility has not, their representatives, it's a huge company. They're doing this all over the country. but they haven't contacted people like Danny McCormick or Crackman or some of those people that, you would think they would get in touch with those people and say, hey, we're about to do this inside your state legislative district or your Caddo Parish Commissioner's District, but they haven't been contacted about any of this. My advocacy for us is to consider the idea of becoming a non-federal sponsor, because we could get involved in learning and getting involved. Some of the things, I pulled it up, the non-federal sponsor becomes a study partner, helps define the water resources problems, helps define opportunities, participates in study decisions with the Corps.
I mean, I'm all for that, but just like we got in this ditches issue too, and drainage stuff, we just have to stay in our.
Have to stay in our lane, but that's an ideal thing for the levee district to at least tell the Corps they're interested in becoming. The Corps, this is the wild, wild west out there. And the Corps isn't gonna get involved unless somebody asks them. And nobody has asked them. And so it's full speed ahead. To Laura Ashley's report to us today, the crises could become an opportunity, where if out of the positive PR desires of this national company, they may well want to not just suck water out of there for free, they may want to do the right thing as a corporate citizen and pay for that water through the Northeast Texas Municipal Water District, which would require the water district to do something they haven't considered before. They've been considering shipping Lake of the Pines water west to Dallas-Fort Worth. This is an easier purchase because they're getting a lot of pushback from 5 or 6 different towns in East Texas that the Caddo Lake Institute and Laura Ashley have been organizing. But it's an easier sell for them perhaps to sell their water or sell water in Lake of the Pines that has to be shipped through Caddo Lake, raising the water level up for this planned facility in Blanchard, Louisiana. And
Well, maybe, I mean, if you gave us just some information and facts about, let us see what would be involved and the advantages.
I would suggest this. Laura Ashley was kind of, and I really kind of pushed her to come do this. Come talk today and I'll just open the book as to what's out there and give you some more information about these data centers. They're the hottest thing going. And there's thousands of them being proposed. And they're gonna create a lot of temporary jobs and some permanent jobs, but they're gonna potentially wreck a lot of ecosystems because they require so much water to cool down the artificial intelligence that's coming through these data centers.
And they require so much power, and the power plants have to be cooled with water also.
Right. Like the one that you read about in Rayville, Louisiana, Delhi, Louisiana, is huge. I've driven by. It is huge. It is as big as downtown Shreveport. And they're gonna run millions of gallons of water through that facility on a daily basis to cool down the big electrical plants that they're gonna build there. The reason they chose that spot is it's rural. There's no regulation. There's a big natural gas and CO2 pipeline that comes in through that area through the old Delhi field. And they've got tremendous amounts of surface water, believe it or not, out in the middle of Richmond Parish. Tremendous amount of surface water, tremendous amount of groundwater. And there ain't anybody to fight back. And because I drove through Delhi, Louisiana Sunday coming back from a duck hunt, and there's nothing going on in Delhi, Louisiana. So this is the biggest thing that's happened since the discovery of the Delhi field back in the 1940s. So,
But anyway, just a summary of what would it entail and long-term, what it would entail, and just get us that information
on
in
that
a
point,
short
on
summary.
that point, Laura Ashley would be available to come back in another month or so and give us an update on what is
Right.
happening. A lot of the information is kind of
Well, on the Word, I'll try to get you some of
Just
the non-federal
written-
information, and then on the data centers, just for talking points, because I think people will probably ask you, these can be good things if they're done correctly and they're done wisely, and everyone is thought of and considered. And quite frankly, when a massive, we don't have that many massive companies come into our region. When they do, we should make that opportunity, make everything right across, for everyone, you know, and take that opportunity and require a lot of them, because they're getting a lot, they're gonna profit quite a bit. So,
And these are
Alright.
private companies that are coming
Yes.
in for the data centers that are built.
publicly traded.
They've got 3 large land acquisitions done. The purchase and sale agreements have been filed in either Caddo Parish or Bossier Parish, but there's more to come. And it's just, these data centers are, you know, they're gonna overbuild them for sure, and there's gonna be financial failures out there. But the people that are at the forefront are a little ahead of the game for development of these data centers.
So we gotta move on, but thank you, Laura Ashley, for all that information, and Marshall, that's definitely, very interesting to us, and we certainly have a.
Could we leave it open and
Stay.
ask Laura Ashley to come back in a month or two?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
You better see you next month.
Don't have to wait 7 years again.
It's gotten active and busy.
Let's move on, we got quite a bit of stuff left on our agenda. Approval of payment of 2026 dues for the Association of Local Boards of Louisiana in the amount of $2,000. Something we do every year, we pretty much have to be part of the State Local Board Association, so. Can I get a, motion to approve that payment?
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second, any further discussion, any public comments, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion approved. Approval of bid for Bayou Pier spoil removal project. We've got a proposed contract to do that.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. This is, you know, the sediment that we take out of Bayou Pier and Sand Beach is really stacking up high in a lot of places. And, we've been talking about removing it, to give us areas to work. Well, there happens to be a development right by this one, so we figured that this would be a good place to start. The development's in favor of it. They've pretty much requested it. We got several bids. This was the low bid with Netherton Company. It's Mr. Sloan that came in here the other week. It's his company, and we've talked with him, and he's comfortable with his bid and comfortable with the project, and we've you know, checked out his company, and everything looks good, and we recommend proceeding with it.
Since this is, I guess, a lower amount threshold, do we not have to do public bid openings like we do on anything else?
You do not.
Okay.
It's, I think that threshold's around 250 million to do I'm sorry, 250,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, can we get a motion to approve moving forward with that? Bid?
So move.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second, any further discussion, any public comments, all in favor, aye, any opposed? All right, motion approved. Consideration of campsite permit transfer request from Charlotte Duggar to Janine Kramer, approximately 1 acre, known as lot number 93 in section 14T21 North, R16 West, on 9825 Tree City Road, Caddo, Paris, Louisiana.
Just a standard transfer.
Okay.
Everything's in order.
Any questions about that? If not, can we get a motion to approve that transfer request?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we've got a motion,
Second.
couple seconds, any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion's approved. Next item is consideration of campsite permit transfer request from Richard Burns to Cynthia Ray, approximately 1 acre, known as lot number 104, with 100 feet of water on Black Bayou in northwest 4 of southwest 4 of northwest 4 of section 23, T22 North, R15 15 West Caddo Levee, Louisiana.
Same with this one, just standard transfer and everything's in order.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve that transfer as well?
So move.
Second.
Motion, second, any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion approved. All right, grab some popcorn, some coffee, and let me read through this, cause I have to read it. All right, consideration of renewal of following permits for 2026, lot number 105 Green, lot number 106 Gray at Wallace Lake, lot number 11 Bidgelow, and lot number 13 Robinson on Couch Road Dam, Couch Dam Road. There's my dyslexia kicking in. Lot number 16 Snyder on Jack Todd Road, lot number 27 Mars, lot number 215 Row on Sunset Lane, lot number 39 Turnley on Graham Road, lot number 47 Green, and lot number 190 Caporcy at Frog Island Camps, lot number 56 Terry, lot number 72 Kennedy at Stacy Landing Camps, lot number 80 Cole on Catfish Road, lot number 86 Alborty, and lot number 87 Taylor on Jeans Bayou, lot number 91 Petaway on Tree City Road, lot number 103 Gibson on Odom Road, lot number 111 Campbell, lot number 112 Putman, and lot number 115 Gates on Boat Camp Road, lot number 117 Holyfield on Harrison Road, lot number 119 Tyson, lot number 121 Ardoin, lot number 125 Boiter, and lot number 209 Boitner on Northeast Front Road, lot number 127 Myers on Black Bayou, lot number 140 Platt, lot number 141 Edwards, and lot number 173 Sullivan on Ed Road, lot number 150 Gorsulowski, and lot number 157 Moore at Nichols Camp, lot number 163 Coyle, lot number 165 Dial, lot number 182 Templeton at Rockport Camps, and lot number 189 Gallagher on Dawes Road. If you ask me to repeat that, I'm gonna resign.
So now,
Just
so,
those are typical campsites we have to approve every year about this time, so, assuming that everything's in good order with
Everything's in
those,
order.
it probably wouldn't be on the sheet, so can we get a motion to approve?
I'll
those?
make the motion to approve these campsites.
Okay,
Leases renewed.
okay,
one second,
we got a motion,
2 seconds.
couple seconds, any further discussion? Any public comment? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? All right, motion approved. President's report, I don't think I have a report today. Well, that's kinda sad, but it's true.
It's not that sad.
Okay, good. Executive Director's report.
Okay, last month I put together a presentation and it was pretty long because it's the first one, so I tried to keep this one more brief. This is a list of the projects. Last month I gave a pretty detailed update about each one, so I just had the list here just for reference. Just to let you know, the contractor did show back up at the West Acres pump station, the one by Amazon, to get that thing wrapped up. It's been dragging on too long, but he's out there now, and I'm hoping it'll be done within, hopefully today.
Do we still owe them,
A little money.
some retainage or something for that?
Yeah, there's still a little bit of work that they're just now completing that has not been paid for yet.
Okay.
There's several large issues out there, that I talked to the Red River Valley Association about. Rich Brontoli, who was the past director, is, on board again. helping out. There's a new executive director. His name is Josh, and I have not, we've talked a little bit yet, but not thoroughly. But we have several issues, one being the erosion on Centel Road by the Red River Levee, and there's another spot on 12 Mile Bayou, which is very bad because the bayou's washing out, and then on the other side of the bayou is the Borrow Ditch. So there's really no place to move that levee. So those are two major, very expensive issues. Black Bayou is another fairly large issue. And then the Corps has a program to get gravel on the levee tops. And then we also have the issue with the Corps about the elevation of the levees. We somewhat put that to rest when they came to the meeting, but that's going to be an ongoing issue for years. And I talked to the Red River Valley Association about getting some assistance with this, and they have a good game plan. And essentially, we're going to request the Corps to tell us how much they need to fix these, and then the Red River Valley will work with us to work with Congress to try and get those projects funded. So that is the plan. The Red River Valley Association has set up a meeting. It was not related directly to this, but these are some of the things we can talk about. There's a meeting on January 20th at 1 o'clock down in Natchitoches with the Corps. They just, the reason for the meeting is there's just not a regular meeting between the levee districts and the Corps, and they want to get some constant dialogue. So I hope to make some progress with these items at that meeting. Any commissioners welcome to come. If you'd like to, just reach out to me if you need any more information or want to ride. Items with legal, Ron he let me know that he was going to be a little late today, but I did want to let y'all know that there's some things I'm working on with him. The drainage channels authorization and permitting. This is the exact same thing we've been talking about for a long time. We got Attorney General's opinion that sets some criteria. I've been digging through records, evaluating the specifics about each drainage channel, and there's some more clarification that I need on that, and I've requested that from Ron. Then there's a development on Bayou Pierre that he's got some concern about, and we're working through that. Nothing that we really need to discuss at this point. And then just some general items. I mentioned last month that I sent the letter to the Army Corps about Bayou Pierre. They gave us a poor rating for Bayou Pierre on some items that are unrelated to the Caddo Levee district. So I just sent a letter stating what we're responsible for and what we're not responsible for. On February 6th, ALBL is having an executive committee meeting in Baton Rouge. So it's just a typical meeting. They have asked me, they have like member spotlights, and they've asked me to give a less than 10-minute talk about the Caddo Levee district. So I'll be doing that there. Next bullet item I have is
It's February the 6th, you said?
yes, sir, February 6th, Friday. Next item I have is police force. You know, as I've been learning about other levee districts, a lot of levee districts have a police force. It's written in state statutes that allows us to have a police force that enforces the laws regarding the levees. Talking to Tinsall over in Monroe, they're very efficient with theirs. You know, they catch somebody doing something they shouldn't be, they write them a citation, the district attorney enforces that citation, and it's taken care of. We don't have that. As much respect as the community has for the Caddo Levee district, there are some folks out there that give us little respect and dig in the levee when they should not, endangering the community. We can't write citations, we're not peace officers. It's something that I've been exploring. And we need to do something, and I would just want to put it on everybody's radar. There's a very large utility company who's drilling holes in the levee, and they told us that they don't believe that the Army Corps has authority to require them to have a permit. They're pretty much going to do what they want.
So do we need a whole force?
No.
No, we
Tapped into the Caddo Sheriff's Department for something.
The sheriff's department may be able to help us out, in certain situations, but we've explored the possibility of maybe Sam and myself, getting certified.
Carrying guns?
Not that we would be,
We'll deputize Jackie and Willie Walker, be most intimidating law enforcement.
we're already out there, and, we would get more respect and be taken more seriously if we did have a badge.
Would you need
And
like handcuffs
credits
and
and
stuff?
stuff.
Would y'all take it seriously if Big Sam came walking up with a gun on his side?
Yeah, I'll do what he told me to do.
Yeah,
So, no, seriously, where is this at, and who's doing this?
SWEPCO,
SWEPCO's the one doing it.
yes. And I need to go there higher ups, I did, but the person I was talking to left.
Got fired.
I know a lot of people at SWEPCO,
Yeah.
if you need some help with that.
Yeah, and the guy I'm talking to is just not making any sense, and,
Yeah, but don't-
That's ridiculous, I cannot.
it's ridiculous, he's making up his own rules, and I'm just telling him.
You know, the
this.
Public Service Commission will get involved in that.
Absolutely.
but aren't they required to stay 15 feet away from the toe of the levee?
15 feet is yes.
And what are they're drilling?
So how do
all
we,
of that?
how do we enforce that?
We get
With the
Sam
police
and
force.
guns.
Yeah, we can.
That's
So-
the only way?
So if we don't enforce it, the Corps will enforce it upon us. You know, they will give us violations, and that affects our levy accreditation. And it's our responsibility to enforce it. So typically, folks, you know, follow the rules, but I'm having an issue.
So I don't know that we need to go down that path of getting even if it's a temporary or haphazard type, some sort of legal force. But I do think in a scenario like this, it is our responsibility to absolutely put a stop to it. So if somebody says they're doing this and they don't care and respect what the levee district is authorized to do by the state of Louisiana, then we will take further action. So if we can't enforce it, I think our next thing to do is to go to Caddo Parish and the sheriff's department. And if that doesn't work, we can go to the state police department. But whatever we gotta do, I think we're gonna have to do that. And I'm happy to get involved with.
Talking to the right person at SWEPCO would be a start.
And I know some people at SWEPCO, I'm in the Manufacturers Council, and I've known a lot of these bigger wigs at SWEPCO, and I know that they would not think like that.
Who took Brian Bond's place?
Paul Pratt.
Paul Pratt?
Paul Pratt and Madison are the two contacts, and they're both very reasonable,
They are. Who
very
you doing
smart
with?
guys.
You know, it's not Paul Pratt.
Paul Pratt took Brian Bond's place?
Not his place, but,
He took the public,
he took,
William Brad. Didn't he take William Brad?
yeah, he took his spot. He's like their PR person, but, I mean, they're not gonna, I just don't, I don't see them doing that, but I think we just need to get some other people involved with it, so.
Yeah.
um,
I'll work on that. I'll work through my channels, and if I'm not getting to the right person,
But what we're not gonna allow is them to, somebody to say that and do that and continue on with, you know, tearing up the levee, so we get a name on it, so.
they've done it twice. They're in the process of correcting it. I mean, it's been 3 or 4 months getting a response out of them. But they put in one call tickets to do it several more times. So yeah, I'll get on top of it and report back.
Okay.
Next item is the ASCE infrastructure report card. I'll send a link out just for your information. Levees got a C report grade. That's statewide. Many of the other categories were worse, some were better.
how did other states do?
I didn't look at other states. Infrastructure committee, this is just kind of a thought I want to put out there. you know, I've developed some, a 5-year plan and an overall plan of all the projects that need to be done. And we're moving forward with some, and I have and we looked at the 5-year plan in this meeting, but, you know, I'm the only one I'm the only one preparing this, which I feel like in my opinion, I'm very capable and I like doing it, but I just feel like it should be looked at by a group of people. And maybe we get that here at this board meeting. But I was looking at it more in depth. So I just wanted to float that idea, and if we need it one day, we can talk about it more. And that concludes my report.
All right. Any questions for Patrick? All right. We will move on. Forester's report, Sam, anything?
This is some of the projects that we're working on right now. We're fixing a slide in-house right over here at Agers. And they should be wrapped up with that today. They did some grading on that whole levee system over there, and we finished up our drainage project, the ditch work that we've been doing in town and up north, and so anyway, we're wrapping up some projects and starting a few more. So
Along those lines, I just had a question. What is, I keep noticing this gate that goes into, right over here, that Bayou Pier by my building over there, Trolling Square. Not Bayou Pier, Cherokee Park Bayou thing, huh? There's a gate over there, right? I don't know where it comes from or what it does, but it's closed. It seems like it's closed. You know what I'm talking about, Sam?
a gate like a drive-through gate, or?
No, it's just it's about that big around, and it's, right over here in that pond, you know, where the, fountain is, on the corner. The levee goes, although it's small, this levee goes.
Yeah, the
right-
old decommissioned levee, yeah. So when this thing
Keep
backs
zooming on that.
up,
Okay,
like whenever we talk about that ring levee,
it's right there. There's a gate right there. I was just curious what that gate was, or where, if it's one of our gates, or where it comes from.
it's,
Oh.
it's not one, it's not
No,
one
I'm
of
sorry,
ours.
it's right there.
Who's the landowner on the other side?
That's Frank's. He owns all of that. Well, I don't know who's the landowner on the other side of that bayou, but all that right there is Frank's properties.
I think it was probably put in whenever they developed that little area just to try to regulate that.
That's it right there.
Huh.
Look at that. You see it?
Yeah.
I
That's
keep looking
interesting.
at that and I was like, I wonder what
Yeah.
that is or where it goes to.
Yeah, it's a floodgate. I've seen it. It looks just like a lot of our other structures, and I don't know if it was, you know, when we used to be over that little stretch of levee a long time ago before, you know,
There
I
was a
don't know
levee
if that
right
was
there.
like part of that system then, and it just got taken. I don't know, but we haven't done anything on it
Okay.
since I've been here.
It was a question of mine. And then, when I saw his picture, are we doing anything with the re-rocking some, have you got any progress with that? I meant to ask about that.
So, gravel,
Gravel,
we're working on that, getting the bid package
surface,
together.
levee top gravel.
Mhm.
Anything else, Sam?
No, that's it.
Engineers report. Josh is not here today.
Thank you.
Guess he didn't have anything. Report from Ron and the tier. I got a notice from him that he was gonna have to miss the meeting and late with something else, but he said he didn't have a report, so. Pass that along. Report Marshall Jones, Forest Oil and Gas Council.
I'll be
Marshall?
quick. In the financial report that we went through earlier today, you saw or heard that the levee district had a good year from oil and gas royalty income. And plus $500,000 a month, $6 million a year is outstanding.
Yeah.
I see that continuing. A lot of the oil and gas properties, particularly the natural gas properties, are at that peak of Haynesville development that the initial production has fallen off. We had, $2 million a month of income, but it's at a level that it may well move forward based on pricing for many years to come. The current pricing is down. Oil is at 56.25 this morning. Natural gas was at $3.55. natural gas was at $4.60, 10 days ago. It's, again, all related, oil and gas, oil is related to supply and demand, gas is related to weather. There's about to be a huge, front come through around the 20th, post-20th of January. You're gonna see natural gas prices, I think, run up to $5 or more. Two things on the horizon to watch is, with respect to oil, the Venezuela incident is going to, Donald J. Trump announced that America is gonna refine 50 million barrels of oil coming from Venezuela. Well, that can't do anything but drive the price of American oil down. Secondly, the United Arab Emirates have pledged $150 billion to restructure their natural gas industry, including pipelines and all that, to offset their demand, their need right now for liquefied natural gas. But we're in the middle of it, positive for years to come, and y'all done a great job of being prudent stewards, and putting this money at use where needed, but putting it in savings where you don't need it. So the report is all positive for 2026.
All right. Question, what's the rig count in our region, do you know, and are they expanding into the wider footprint of Haynesville?
Yes, they are. I think the prospectus for the next 20 to 25 years is tremendous. I think the next 2 to 3 years is tremendous. You're seeing companies coming back to some of the early 2008, 10, 12 original Haynesville wells, and they're coming in. You see the big location out on Flint on Lucas Road. It's going to drill all of the Erie Drive area. I think they're going to do 8 wells there. I just think that what's going to happen in the years to come is directly related to these data centers. These data centers are going to need tremendous quantities of electricity, and the best source for that is natural gas. And the price to the royalty owner may not be great because of supply and demand, but the demand for additional drilling, I think, will continue for the next decade, maybe 25 years. So good news is the Caddo Levee district has tremendous amounts of acreage in well-located places. It could be that that's developed as new technology comes online, like you see happening around town right now with some of the new big locations that are going in. So I think it's all positive.
Good. All right. Thanks, Marshall. Legal committee report. Equipment committee report.
Report that I have, we're looking into purchasing, one more scraper, dirt moving outfit for the workers, and Sam can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, so y'all approved me to buy 2. We're gonna try these out and use one of the old ones. We've had these dirt pens, what we clean our concrete ditches out with, and they were old, 30 years old. So we bought 2. They worked really good. We modified them. Everybody liked them, was happy with them. So I want to get rid of that last 88 model that we got, and then we'll have 3 and.
Were you born in '88? You weren't even
84. Yeah, it's about as old as me. So anyway, I'd like to get one more, and then we'll have a full crew of those for the ditch cleaning.
So that concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you. Recreation committee.
None?
Additional communication from commissioners. Anybody got anything else? All right, y'all an easy group today. Oh, hey, Ron.
Hey.
Ron, I
Can't back as fast as I could.
reported off of your report that
Well,
you
thank you.
emailed me that you had no report.
Thank
Is
you,
that
sir.
true, or do you wanna?
I have no report. Happy New Year, everybody.
All right, with that, can I get a motion to?
So moved.
adjourn?
Second.
All right, got a motion, second, any further discussion? Any public comment? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.